Yes. There's part of me that's just like, all I want, Ben, I don't know how you and Drew talk me out of it, but I just want to hear roll away my stone, I'll roll away mine. I just want to get some Mumford and Sons back in here. There he is. Let's see how the Wi-Fi works inside the shop, Drew Moody.
Is it working?
It is, brother.
It's just my data actually right now, so we better use it wisely.
Didn't you end up with like $100 phone bill? Didn't we learn the hard way on this last time, or what?
We learned the hard way, yeah. But this is data. This isn't cellular. No phone calls for me.
Good, dude. Good to see you, Drew Moody.
Good to see you. How you guys doing?
Dude, good. Live and in charge at Coffee de los Mayas down in Belize. Okay, so welcome to Coffee Experts Club. Good to see everybody here. Ben, Drew, like we take it all over the world here at Coffee Experts Club. So in case you're wondering, Drew Moody, our very own, is on scene in Belize because we've got a new Coffee Experts Elite that's down there in Belize, and Drew's down there helping them get things up and off the ground. Coffee de los Mayas. Drew, you've been under a lot of rain.
It's been a watery season for sure. This weekend I got to witness rain like I've never experienced before, and where I could
do
walk
interviews,
to the welcome
right?
center.
Do interviews and you had to swim to your interviews, I heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say where I could walk to before, I had to swim to get to here now. Yeah, but the interviewees, they still showed up. They hiked through the rain. Everybody here is more prepared for this stuff than I was. So
of course,
I'm splashing in my shoes that are like sponges. Everybody has waterproof shoes.
Let me give you just a reality check on Drew's life real quick, Ben. So this was an open field.
Is that a soccer field?
Yep.
So,
oh my Lord.
That's right down the block from here too.
This is an open square.
What?
This is also the open square. If this gives you any reference, that's a bench.
Oh my Lord.
That's not that. This is right down under where Drew lives. Like this is right where Drew's at.
And most of the applicants still made it to their interviews.
Right? Americans are weak, bro. We're weak people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This isn't a common occurrence, is it? Or was it just weird?
It was once every few years, they said. What happened was the dam was full, so they were releasing it slowly, but the river couldn't move that much water, so it just invaded the town a little.
Ben, look at these dudes right here. So Drew, like this is the doors to people's shops, right?
Yeah, they were all helping. It's actually pretty cool. The community comes together and they had canoes and they were helping each other out, cleaning out their buildings. And there's actually a big vegetable and fruit market, fresh foods, and they moved all of it and helped each other move it up the hill a little ways so they could still operate.
But seriously, how do you save your shop when things come into your door like that?
You know, it was slow, so hopefully they had a little bit of foresight and cleaned out their wares before it got knee and hip deep.
Once every two, so they expect it like every couple of years. They're like, oh, it's
every few years. Well, and there's an almost hurricane passing right below us, so we're getting a lot of rain right now. Not today though. Well,
I will say this, like, and you would think, Ben, you and I being from Pacific Northwest, we see that much rain, we're like, boy, so much rain. I bet it's just like wet and cold. But Drew, as you can see right now, is sweating like a dog because what's it like? Is it like 90 degrees, 90% humidity right now, Drew?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Yeah. And I mean, if you see outside, it's just a beautiful sunshiny, summery day. So
yeah.
Never know. That was just yesterday that it flooded.
So Drew, tell us a little about things, bro. I mean, do you want to take us on a little tour and show us all of the fallen junk all over the place that's just coming in that you're having to make like smarts of?
So I'll give a little from the front. This is what it looks like.
Oh, that's looking nice.
That's coming out good.
Yeah,
Are those machines out of boxes? Look at those guys.
Yeah, so we got our fridges here. The thing about the clearance on the counter is that we need all the clearance, and we have a baseboard here. Okay. So we're going to have to cut some of this so they fit nicely, but they'll go under the counter eventually. Yeah, we had some nice string lights. Aaron, suggested circus style, so I threw them up like an animal, and we had to change that because circus style is not exactly what we were looking for. So
we weren't looking for. Well, we were trying some circus, just not quite what it turned out to be.
And we got our back room, there's our triple sink. It's going to go up somewhere. All our dry goods. Just do a quick little 360.
That's
We
a
have tons of
huge amount
storage
of
space back
space.
there.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
tons of storage space for the future. So
Yeah, they did.
these boxes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say so obviously coffee experts clubs, we advocate for drive-throughs. That's what we do. That's what, like you're open your first, your first coffee drive-through was our first challenge, your first drive-through.coffee. We advocate for drive-throughs, but in this scenario, this is a place that gets a lot of tourists. Then there's a lot of walking traffic. So that place just fills up with tourists walking by. And so we set this whole shop up with the intention of us helping them to get into the drive-through mindset, for the sake of when we move on next to a drive-through. So the whole bar is set up so they can serve that way. And they use this back area as like, hey, let's make sure we have a good stocking space. You know what I mean? Like something that's big. If we have to order a lot of stock and just hold it places, if we have to create a training area, if we have to do some stuff. So this location was intended for more of like training, extra storage, and like a first foot down, doing coffee in Belize.
Home base kind
Yeah.
And maybe a speakeasy someday,
of.
Look at that, right?
So yeah, most of these boxes were brought here in refrigerated trucks, so they were a little wet. So that's why it's kind of decorated on the floor rather than decorating the wall. So, but all the goods survived. It's just the actual structure of the box was slightly compromised. But yeah, and it actually goes around the corner over there. There's still more space on that side, so it's a pretty massive space.
Yeah, so I think that obviously the learning curve for this one has been, I mean, we've opened dozens of coffee shops between the three of us, for all different kinds of folks, franchises and independents and like all the different kinds we've done. What we've never done is open something across seas, you know what I mean? So there's been massive learning curve for Drew and I as we're trying to pull together like supply chain issues. You know what I mean? Like how do we get the right things, right? Not everything's openly available in Belize, you know what I mean? So how are we going to bring things in for the States for the sake of we're trying to meet Americans in Belize, like they're not opening to necessarily cater to like our normal clientele base. In the States, you open up a coffee shop because you want to get all the soccer moms heading to soccer practice, or all the dads dropping off kids at school, or all whatever the rhythms are you're trying to find. Well, we want to meet the common people there in Belize with a solution, but we're really trying to hit the Americans who are traveling there with, hey, we get the kind of coffee you're looking for, so it's been a trick because to do that, you've got to give them the coffee that they're looking for, which requires supply chain to work the way that you need it to. And it can't just be janky and half baked and half thought through and not well dialed in. And so that's been a tough one, Andrew.
Oh man. Well, and between working with vendors in America and we've been working with a vendor in Guatemala and then trying to work with some local vendors.
Yeah.
And it's just pricing things out and shipping. It's just kind of been, I'd like to use the word a nightmare, but it's still going. So we'll see if nightmare holds up to the test. I think we have finally found vendors that worked out, and then just shipping all our equipment here has kind of been a big deal.
I think thinking too through like as we order it, ordering and supply chain. People complain about supply chain here in America, you know what I mean? But it's like, well, you should try getting it to a port and then getting it to a different country and talk about supply chain issues, and opening up on time. Like we Drew and I have internal targets to help them get open by, we had set for October 21st, but how do you account for 3 feet of rain? You know what I mean? Like how do you account for closing the ports? Like how, we're sending team down to go and help set up the machines. But Drew was like, thank God he didn't get here yesterday. I would not even been able to make it to the airport. So I think
even today or tomorrow, they're still probably not cleared up.
Yeah. So, I mean, crazy stuff that we've had to just wander through this time. That's so much different. What I will say, the upshoot on the other side is they can pretty much do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing check about, like we are in so much like back and forth with city, with Human Being Reno. Like we've been trying to open that location all year. Like whole damn year we've been working on that location. And man, I keep telling Ryan, the owner, the operator of that chain, like, man, no, I'm not settling for anything less than quarter four. Quarter four has to be a thing, you know what I mean? But that's just not how it always works, like you don't always get what you want, and so especially in the American stores, like it just is what it is. You get what you get, but when, you're down there in Belize, we're like, oh no, we want to make this shift. Oh no, you want to make this change. Oh no, you want to add this. Who do we have to ask? Nobody, just do it. Like, which is nice. I mean, that is a big shift, but you deal with all the other things like trash services. I mean, like things we take for granted. No, the truck comes, of course, every week. You can even call for a second one. What, you want a bigger dumpster out there? Oh, what, you want this special particularity about this or that? No problem. Do this, do that. Down there, they're like, oh, no, wait, you're probably going to want to put that on a cart. No, people come by with carts and pick up stuff. How much stuff are we talking about? And Ben, you know how much trash comes out of a coffee shop? I mean, like so much trash, dude. I mean, how much grief do we hear for years about dragging trash across parking lots and just dripping bags or whatever? I mean, like talk about bags. I think about the dumpsters that we had to rent bigger dumpsters for all these locations because mounds of trash and cities complaining and other tenants are complaining because there's so much trash that comes out of these places. And I don't even know how to get the folks down there to conceptualize. No, we're not talking about just a few cups. Like we're talking about bags of trash are coming out of this joint,
What did the restaurants do down there? Because the restaurants have to be dealing with trash.
Yeah, they do. I just think they don't have services like we have services, so they have makeshift,
They've got the intern who drives his truck to the back of the restaurant.
Right. That was the roasters days. We did that stuff on our own. This is more like rolling a cart down the boulevard is my understanding, right, Drew? Is that people are rolling carts by to pick up trash?
I mean, I had people asking, it's interesting. The culture here is something I've been getting used to. So people, they'll come and be like, hey, you got some work for me? And I'm like, hey, I'll pay you $1 to take my trash to the dumpster. And that's basically how it works. So they'll come get it and they'll take it over there for me. And it's not my garbage anymore. And there is a nice big dumpster here for all these businesses, but nobody's going to come by regularly. There's not a service that does it for us. It's just someone walking by who wants $1 and easy money. I mean, everything costs a little bit of money and they're totally happy to do it. And I'm happy to support, whatever's going on in this area.
Tell Ben about your 7 guys having to lift the refrigerator over that counter right there.
Oh no,
dude. Okay, so not only this counter here, but this space here was too small, so we had to lift it over this here, and it's this big guy. It's a big single door
walk-in
event. No, I wish it was a walk-in. This monster.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, it's 7 feet tall, probably weighs 700 pounds. And luckily I had Rudy's the gentleman that's working down here. He sent some of his guys to drop it off. It took all of them. It took me. I had a guy here doing our mural. It took him, one of my friends who works at a tour place on the corner. He came and helped. It took all of us to get that thing in here. It was a beast.
It takes a village, Ben. It takes a village. You know what I'm saying? Like that works.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man.
Crazy.
So every day it's something new. So Drew and I are doing stand-ups every evening. Rudy jumps on as he's able to, and we just talk through what's going on. Rudy's got another business that he runs too, so this is like a secondary business for him. So he's brought Drew down to help him with the lift. Drew interviewed 30 people yesterday. We've got 30 more to interview that he's going to go through. I think we may have found maybe some of our top 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah.
And I just think it's every day it's just punching at something. The plumber's supposed to come back in, right, Drew? We just got water on in the building. We thought we had water, didn't have water. Just got the plumber's coming in now and he's going to come dialed in. So it's all this stuff that Drew's having to help him pull together, help Rudy pull together. And we're hoping for 10 days from now. And Drew's like, bro, I think we might need to push that back a little bit. Yeah, you think? Because we're still waiting on stuff that was supposed to have been at the store, shipped from the docks. That we made sure was at the docks a month ago that still hasn't made it yet to Belize, and it's like, well, what do you do in that scenario? And Ben, like it's not like we have a bunch of excess. We order what we need. So if the stuff isn't there, like you can't just kind of open. Like, do you have the stuff or do you not have the stuff? Like that stuff's critical.
You just have a bring your own cup day, and
right?
Just bring your own cups if you don't have any.
Oh man, I wish. I mean, I think we got the cups. We're missing the espresso machine, right? True. Yeah, that's the thing on the boat.
Please bring your espresso machine so we can make coffee day.
Oh man, but we're hoping it all comes together. We hope it's all gonna.
Something that's interesting. So I've never really been an advocate for group interviews, but we had 70 applicants for this place within a week and a half, which is totally crazy to me. It's not what I would have. It's not what we would ever expect. I'm
so proud, Drew. Can can I show it off real fast? I'm so proud of what we came up with for
Do
that.
it.
Okay,
Do
so we helped them with their website stuff too, because this is all new for them, and I feel like we know kind of what works and how it works and how it all comes together. So we put together this want to work with us, and we pay. It's a type form, Ben. So type form populates in the website, but we also printed one. We printed out a QR code so that people could scan it and get to the same spot. They start the application, they enter everything in here, it populates to a Google Sheet, and then we're helping them set up interviews for Drew. So I mean, it was so streamlined. Like it was just like batch after batch after batch. And so we posted it up on the internet, for all their social media sites, and dropped it on the website here. Taped a sign on the door, scan this QR code, scan the QR code, took them straight to the application page, brought them all in. And I feel like Drew got 70 applicants out of it within like 10 days, right? Like 10 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, so
And I mean, no, it's cool. So I've been doing groups of 5 interviews. Well, yesterday with the crazy storm, people showed up at weird times. So I had groups of 6, groups of 2, a group of 1. And one of the benefits I noticed, because I've never done group interviews before, and it's not something that I know, but one of the benefits I noticed is that it's an incredibly social situation. And so the whole goal is conversation. What we do is a really casual thing because it's customer oriented, customer facing, customer service 100%. You can teach anybody to make a latte. You can't teach anybody to be a good customer servant. And
Right.
so when I do have a group of 6 and I'm asking questions, it gets conversation flowing, and you can really tell who is actually going to be good in the window or, storefront, and who's not going to be good at that. And so that is one big benefit that I never even thought about. I always like my one-on-one things, but people can be more comfortable in a one-on-one. You kind of need to see how social some of these people can be, or everybody in the coffee sphere. You got to be social.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
It's interesting too, because I do feel like how many young people did we bring in over the years, who we felt like interviewed really well, and then you get them in there and then they just freeze up, or they can't deal with social anxiety, or they whatever it is that they just are not able to survive in this environment. And I do think it's really interesting, Drew. Throw them into a group, see how they do, see how they survive. And I think you said you interviewed one particular person that you really liked the person, but they dominated conversation, when it came to like other people talking, and you're like, no, you've got to know when you can talk and when you can't talk. You can't just like railroad over the top of other people. As much as I like you, like it's, just can't be.
You gotta know when the space is space for other people to talk, because if you're always talking, you're never gonna learn anything new.
Yeah.
And generally one of my favorite things about coffee is the platform we provide people to learn new things and to grow in, whatever skills they have, to push their comfort zones and their comfort levels. And this is a good space for that. But if you have one person who's comfortable doing all the things, well, it kind of overshadows everybody else's ability to grow.
Yeah. When are you hoping to have all the hires set and start like a training program or anything? As soon as
I'd love to start training next week, but only the good Lord knows when our machine's going to show up.
How the
So
good
I'm hoping
Lord
to
and
have
us,
everybody
us hustling, like like just hustling, like the shippers on. Listen, so we pulled together the whole sheet, right? Because that's been my apprehension this whole time, is we've got so much stuff going down there from so many different places, and there's so much potential for slippage because there's 2 parties. There's the docks in Belize and the docks in Texas. You know what I mean? So it's like having everything shipped to Texas, everything arrives in Belize, everything ships from Belize to Rudy's warehouse, and then comes to De Los Mayas. But it's like there's a lot of slippage in that many change of hands. So we built a list and built like when it hit the docks in Texas, and built this tracking order so that I could lean back in and put the screws to the tracking of the shippers and be like, listen, I know when it hit your dock. I know who signed for that. Where's this thing at? Because we've been waiting on it now for this amount of time. So, but that's just never fun. Like that's just like, I just need to know it's going to get here, So, and there's been some language barrier. You know what I mean? Like trying to communicate urgency, like there's a cultural barrier, like Drew, please tell the story. Please tell the story of you hustling Guatemala. Please, dude. This is one of my favorite stories about Drew Moody.
So I think it was like a Monday. It wasn't anything crazy. We waited over the weekend. I'd been waiting on this gentleman to send me his prices from Guatemala. He's a Tarani rep. We were plugged in from the international team. And so I'm like, hey, dude, like I need you to send me these numbers. I've been waiting for X amount of time. You can't wait all day. We're in crunch time. And he texted me back, sorry, I'm off today because of our Independence Day. And I was like, what did I say? I text Aaron.
Nothing
I was
screams.
like, Go ahead.
Nothing screams entitled American like blowing up some guy on the National Independence Day. We're like, we need our stuff, we need our stuff, we need our stuff. And they're like, bro,
It's a
hey,
holiday, man.
we don't get urgency. Urgency does not necessarily move the world here like it does in America. And number two, it's a Latin holiday. Like, get off me, Jack. Like, so good.
I felt it right here,
Yeah,
right there. But then I
especially
also
because I
thought,
feel
man,
like
I'm working on Independence Day.
that's right. He flipped it around. He flipped the script. I'm like, yeah, but only Americans do BS like that. Nobody else does that kind of stuff.
That's true.
But we've really been trying to be sensitive, right? Obviously, this is a totally different culture, you know. Like I know CJ and Lindsay opening like in South Carolina, like that's a different culture, but not like this. You know what I'm saying? Like this, like we know Pacific Northwest coffee. That's what we know. And I know that there was some cultural adjustments in Montana opening Coffee Republic. I know CJ and Lynn's, you know, are gonna have some cultural things as they open in South Carolina. Like that's not Pacific Northwest. You don't have the same urgency. People really love their Dunkin' Donuts. Really, people love their sweet tea. You know what I mean? Like the different things that you're coming up against cultural, but the cultural we're coming up against down there is that like this is a slower paced place. You know what I mean? So how do you create speed, service, strength in a slower paced place? You know what I mean? Like how do you no, like 1 to 2 minute times on coffees turned like out off of this counter in 1 to 2 minute times. Drew, do you get nervous about that? How do you feel about that?
Never nervous, bro. I'll just be in here sweating up a storm, working around everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I get nervous about lots of things, but I don't think getting these young people to hurry would be one of them. I think the culture is naturally really laid back and slow, but I think that it's exciting when there's something that isn't. So it's exciting when there's something new, and the excitement kind of fuels the speed, the service. You know, the energy that we put into the coffee. I mean, Ben, Aaron, you guys know the energy that goes into this thing excites baristas, it excites customers, and we can have our own little sphere here of urgency, which I think is completely doable.
It's exciting. It's exciting, and they're launching into their own energy drink, right? Like they took the plunge. Ben, first one in. They're working with us. You know, we talked about it a few weeks back, Indie Coffee Coalition, what we're putting together. So they're going to white label an energy drink that comes through Indie. And they're going to have their own thing, which means they're going to be able to bang down cogs, you know, with their energy drink. We already talked about they're going to get their coffee beans so much different than the United States because they're not paying to import it. You know what I mean? Like what Drew and I are finding, we're going to pay import on the other side. So we're going to have to probably factor that into pricing a little different way. But like they're paying lower cogs on their beans, lower cogs on their energy drinks. So I'm excited for them. Drew's put together the menu. We're getting that all together and dialed in for him. So it feels like every day. So Drew and I are doing stand-ups every day at 5 p.m. And 6 p.m. his time. And we're just like punching at the issues. But it's the thing is right there in front of Drew. What you can't see is right on the other side of that is the window. Think you're working a window at a coffee shop. Drew never gets to shut that window. That door stays open all day long. So all day he's having conversations.
Well, and I mean, so we're right in the square. The city square is probably one of the best spots we could have gotten. And so there's a lot of locals, a lot of employees that work here. There's actually traffic police that circulate in and out of that area all day. So I've already met almost everybody that's down here. You see me constantly waving. I turn off my microphone, people walk in and talk to me. There's a lot of activity here, and the thing, one of the things that I can really appreciate about the area is everybody likes to talk, you know. And one of the things about our coffee, especially where we're from, Pacific Northwest, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get customers to talk to you. Sometimes here you can't get people to stop talking.
Are you nervous? Are you nervous about that for cup times, car times, getting like car times equivalent? Like how do you move conversation in a way that you're on to the next one?
I was just gonna be blunt about it, man. I'm an American. I don't know how to be any other way. Like, hey, man, I got more customers. Maybe
just slide their cup. Just slide your cup to the left-hand side of the bar, right? Like just slide the cup over there and then take on the next one. Slide your cup.
Just goes that way. Yeah, please. You also go that way.
I think it's great just with how many people you are meeting. Like it just makes that grand opening that much better because you're not like some stranger. Like they're getting to know you. They're seeing you build the shop. They're seeing it go up. Like I'm sure there's a community buzz around it that's building that will just be that much better for a grand opening.
Well, not to be anything weird about it, but like when I came down here with Rudy, he said you can tell the tourists because they're mostly white people. and I'm like the only normal white dude who's around here all the time. And so I'm getting to know everybody all the time. Like yesterday, we were out and watching the water rise because it was literally rising. We were standing there watching it come up, and I was like, oh, I was hanging out with just somebody who came by. I was just hanging out with them, and I was talking about wanting to splash it, and they'd be like, yeah, everybody would be like, look at the gringo splashing around, watching the gringo.
Oh.
The
I was
problem
like, I do. I
I
wanted.
left yet. It's rained so much yesterday. He's still here.
They don't know. And my apartment is real close to here. So I'm always in this area within 1 block. I'm always right here. I go to the same stores. I go to the restaurants. What up? How you doing?
Yeah. So I think that it's been cool. It's been like different than anything we know, different than anything we've seen. But I think this is the big, like, I feel like we've done so much coffee. This is the big chance, right? Like, let's see, does this work anywhere? Can we help them manage it remotely? Can we do all the things that we say we can? It's one thing to be able to say it here in the States. It's another thing when you're a couple countries away. You know what I mean? So are we going to be able to help Rudy and the crew down there with De Los Mayas, with the lift? The same way we help CJ and Lindsay with Outsider, the same way we're helping Ryan Roden with Human Being Reno, the same way we're helping, the BlackRock crew up in, Tri-Cities, the same way that we're helping, Coffee Republic, the same way that we're helping all these different coffee shops that we're helping. But this one's our first international, and it's exciting and it's new and it's different and it's outside of our norm, and nothing works the same way. Like none of the big POS systems from the US work in Belize. It's the damnedest thing. So I think that, it's all those new learning curves, but we're excited about it. I think it's going to be something cool. Drew's down there for a couple of months. We'll see. Some weeks left. So
Hopefully the machines get here so I can start training.
yes, hopefully the machines get there. So hopefully the machines get there so our tech is able to set it all up when he joins you on Monday.
And not just come down here and party.
Yeah, exactly. That would be amazing. I'm like, hey, Rudy, I've got this great guy. He's this great American kid who's just going to party on your dime. That sounds incredible.
Pretty much.
Anyway, any other questions, Ben? Got anything else for us?
I'm excited to see it take shape.
Ben, when are you going to go down there? When's Ben going to fall and put in his rep? Go on down there, taking the wife, you and Alyssa hanging on down there. I mean, they'll pay for your trip to come down, brother.
Might be looking good. End of February, maybe beginning of March might be the perfect time.
Dude. We would love
That's
some Clatterbuck in Feb.
That's still tourist season, so we're gonna need some help, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, Drew, thanks for tuning in with us, buddy. I hope it didn't cost you $755,000 to use your data this whole time.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Drew called me on day 2. He goes, "Hey, bro, do you know how Cell works down here? Because I was talking to this friend of mine, and yeah, she got a bill for like $200 on her cell phone." I'm like, dude, Wi-Fi, lean into Wi-Fi, bro. Everything's Wi-Fi. Let Zoom be your best friend.
That's great.
All righty, guys. Well, we'll see you then, Drew. In a couple of weeks, we'll swing back by and see how things are going.
All righty. See you guys.